Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5, and today we're going to be ranking all of the bug types in all of Loomian Legacy, from worst to best. And keep in mind, we are only using all of the fully evolved bug types, so bug types like Buzzlin and or Dasha will sadly not count. So let's head right onto this list. But before we do that, I am giving away an Alpha Gobidemic, or Gleam Gobidemic, whatever y'all call it. So if y'all say Gleam Turkey in the comments below, or Alpha Turkey in the comments below, I will give y'all a number, and then within a few days, I will spin the random number generator wheel, and if your number is picked, you will have a chance to win an Alpha Turkey. Now, I do know that the prizes are not looking as good. I'm running out of stuff to give away, so yeah, I'm going to have to hunt soon, just so I can get more prizes to give away. But yeah, you'll have a chance to win this Alpha Turkey. Let's head right into this top 5. So, onto number 11 onto the list is actually going to be Florence. Yep, Florence is probably the worst Loomian in the game, so that means it's the worst bug type in the game. Basically, what you see on the screen is what you do. Sap Plant, dodge, Pestilence, dodge. That's kind of all Florence can do. Yes, it does have Magnify and Energy Surge, which makes it okay. It's very hard to utilize, though, because it has one of the lower speed stats in the entire game at 35. And it has so many weaknesses. You will almost always have 2 or 3 counters for a Florent on your team. I mean, I always use Chartiki. Chartiki fully counters Florent. Any plant type counters it. Any ice type counters it. Icicle traps counters it. Barbs, poison. So much counters Florent, and that's why Florent is the worst Loomian in the game, and also the worst bug type in the game. It's not terrible, like, it's terrible. It does have some things going for it, but not enough. It needs a lot more attack, and it needs to not be so weak to everything. So that's why Florent is ranked at the very bottom of the bug type list. And it's probably the worst Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy. Let's head right into Loomians that are actually good. So yeah, to number 10 onto the list is actually going to be Cinemoth. Now, Cinemoth is bad, but it is leagues better than Florent. Florent is so bad, it's not even worth having one on your team. But Cinemoth is bad. It has the same weaknesses as Florent, although it does have, I guess, a couple less. But it's very frail. It doesn't really hit that hard. Although it does have one thing. It has Magnify. Magnify makes it so it makes your moves go up to +2, making you hit somewhat hard. Problem is that you don't have an ability that increases your damage, so you need to get multiple Magnifies in order for your Cinemoth to hit very hard. And 83 speed is not the best for how frail Cinemoth is. Cinemoth can do the job in some certain scenarios. I mean, in this case, it goes through Adrenaline, but it's just not enough. It does have Life Drain to heal itself back, but it doesn't have any good abilities, and the moves itself are just not that good. Cinemoth is bad, but I don't think it's the worst that is happening. I think there are a lot more Loomians which are worse than Cinemoth. Like, Wiki's worse, Florence worse, and I even think Servalin's worse. So yeah, Cinemoth, though, is the second worst bug type in all of Loomian Legacy. And to be fair, it's not even really that close. Number 9 is a lot higher than number 10, but at least it's a lot higher than Florent. Number 9 onto the list is actually going to be Terrifly. Yep, Terrifly is terrifying, or terrible. It just depends on the person you say. This has good coverage, and it hits solidly hard, but it has Ambush. Meaning that when you have a bad matchup against a Terrifly, you can't swap out. It will do a ton of damage to you. It one-shots a Zulong in this case. Like, the Ambush ability is honestly a really good ability on Terrifly. But the reason why it's number 9? There are 3 other bug types that outclass Terrifly in every way. Terraclaw, Swolder, and Buzzlin. Buzzlin's faster and hits harder but vigorous, while stunning melee attackers. Terraclaw, while being a ranged tank, just has a lot more melee attack than you. And also Swolder hits harder with setup, while also not even being that much slower. Only has like 7 less speed. Terrifly just gets outclassed. And while Terrifly isn't really that bad, it can definitely do a lot of work. There are 3 way better bug types that outclass it in every way. Either they're more bulky, hit harder, or have abilities that actually makes them perform better. And that's why Terrifly is ranked this low at number 9. It's not even because of Terrifly itself, it's just because there are other bug types that outclass it. And just like Cinemoth, it doesn't really hit that hard without Ambush. It's not that special without Ambush. So that's why Terrifly is ranked this low. Number 8 onto the list is actually going to be Sumo Beetle. Now, Sumo Beetle is probably the worst brawler type in the game, and it's not even close. But when it comes to bug types, it actually is ranked pretty solidly. I was wondering what Fire Slam could potentially be useful for, but the problem is that Fire Slam, you know, Brawler can hit metal, and Parasitize can hit dark. So the only thing I could potentially see Fire Slam useful for is Stratosaur, and even then, you gotta protect the Stratosaur coming in order for it to do work. But despite that, Double Strike is a good ability. You can hit Loomians twice. That's pretty good. You also have Priority. You actually have Setup, which is nice. It's the first Loomian that has proper setup other than Cinemoth. Well, I guess Florence has it too, but we don't count Florence. Its attack is too low to be really utilizable. But yeah, Sumo Beetle is pretty good, although it doesn't hit hard enough. Just the same problems we've had with Cinemoth and Terrifly are also here on Sumo Beetle too. Although at least it could heal itself back with Parasitize. And Brawler is really nice offensively. But defensively, Sumo Beetle doesn't do so hot. It has high melee defense, but that's kind of it. And a ton of weaknesses. A ton of weaknesses really doesn't help this thing, and that's why it's ranked so low. That's why Sumo Beetle is number 8. Number 7 onto the list is actually going to be Freezy. Now, Freezy being ranked this low is kind of odd, but keep in mind, Freezy is probably 2 or 3 times better than Sumo Beetle. This is a massive step up on the list. Freezy's good. It's very bulky. That's what Freezy has. It has a lot of utilizability. This is basically the better Florence. Florence, but better. Yup, Florence, but better. That's basically Freezy. It can place down Poison Barb. It can Sack Plant. It can Pestilence. It can Dodge. It can Hypnotize. It can do a ton. It can Life Drain. It can Feral Blast. Those are just a few of the moves I can think of. It has Return to Sender to beat Stratosaur. Its pre-evolution, Odasho, is probably one of the best pre-evolutions in the game. There is a lot going for Freezy. The only reason it's ranked this low, honestly, is because as a range attacker itself, it doesn't really hit that hard. It is mainly used as a stall Loomian, and that's kind of it. As a range attacker itself, it doesn't really hit that hard. And it doesn't really have any setup moves besides Power Focus, which is just not enough. And plus, being pure bug, it's just not the best offensively. While it's very good at stalling and it's very tanky, offensively, it doesn't really do too much. But despite that, though, Freezy is honestly really good, and I often see it be used pretty well on teams. So, yeah, Freezy being number 7. Number 6 onto the list is actually going to be Garbantis. Garbantis is good. Yes, this thing is honestly the first good bug type. It has Trash Armor, which increases its melee defense, Battering Ram, which uses your melee defense as your attack, Bulk Up, and Earthquake. Bug Earth is a very interesting typing defensively. Like, you can't hit Stratosaur, but other than that, Garbantis can hit pretty much anything in the game, despite that. And, yeah, Earthquake's a very good move. It actually makes it one-shot Thunder, which is really good. And you can hit a lot of metal types with Garbantis. With Burrow or Bulk Up, makes it so you're very tanky. And with Trash Armor, man, you are very bulky on the melee side of Trash Armor. For something with 104 speed to be that tanky is honestly amazing. And honestly, this thing could be put at number 5. The reason why it is lower, though, is because defensively, it's quad weak to Ice. Quad weak to Ice and weak to Water, which really doesn't help. The Earth typing defensively does hurt Garbantis a lot, at least compared to other Earth types. Despite that, though, its fast speed and it hitting very hard makes Garbantis probably one of the best Earth types in terms of pure offense, at least compared to the rest of the bug types on this list. Probably one of the best offensive bug typings, except for one of them, which we will get into a little bit. But yeah, Garbantis being number 6 is a very good spot for it. Let's get to the top 5 now. Number 5 under the list is actually going to be a shocker because it's Buzzlin. Now, people might put Garbantis over Buzzlin because this is pure bug when Garbantis is bug Earth, but there's a couple reasons why I have Buzzlin higher. It does hit harder with Vigorous. With Vigorous does make Buzzlin hit harder. It has Buck Up, and it has Barter, Barter can actually stun any melee attacker, which is amazing. Just that ability to stun melee attackers puts Buzzlin a step up over Garbantis. It also has some other perks too. It has Nosedive, which can hit other bug types, which Garbantis can't. Baneful Bash to hit water types. And also Adaptive Assault is kind of like Pestilence. It actually does chip damage over time. And yes, this thing also does not hit Stratosaur. But despite that though, if you do get the Adaptive Assault on Stratosaur, you can actually chip it for a little bit of damage, because that's what Adaptive Assault does in Buzzlin. And that's honestly the best part. The extra little bits of chip damage definitely adds up over time, and that's why Buzzlin is in the top 5. And while it isn't the best Loomian in the game, it definitely is good. And it has actually solid bulk on the range side. It actually has really good range bulk. And that's why Buzzlin is in the top 5 over Garbantis and other Loomians that we've talked about already. Its coverage options are also pretty good, but, you know, Stratosaur being in the game definitely makes Buzzlin pretty hard to use. And that's why Buzzlin is not any higher than number 5. So yeah, Buzzlin ranked pretty high. Number 4 on the list is going to be very controversial because I had my wits on the Ludrics. But let's talk about the positives on the Ludrics. Amazing coverage. Probably the best coverage out of any Loomian in the entire game. And that's over Hunder, which says a lot. I mean, electric and air coverage is amazing. Has 122 range attack, which makes it the best attacking bug type. Water bug offensively is also amazing. I mean, the Ludric hits very hard. There's no doubt about that. And its coverage makes it so there's pretty much no counters. But there is one problem. This thing is frail as heck. Any attack one-shots you, pretty much. At least that's what it feels like it. Neutral hits can one-shot you. Priority quick punch moves one-shot you. It feels like, and also everything that outspeeds you pretty much counters you. I mean, let's look at all the Loomians that outspeed you that can pretty much one-shot you. Revenine, Vocaloa, Dusket, I think can do some work against you too. Although I don't know though. That one's questionable. Zulong, Protagon, Hunder, Protagon. And let's even look at some Loomians with priority moves, like Mutagon, Yoursoul, Himber. So many Loomians can hit you very hard, and you don't hit hard enough. If you use your non-stab moves, it will not hit hard enough. I mean, this is a Mutagon that lives. Keep in mind, Mutagon has low range defense. While the Ludric is really good and probably one of the best offensively, it has a couple flaws that keeps it out of the top 3. Number 3 onto the list is actually going to be one of the best range tanks in the game in Terraclaw. Terraclaw is amazing as a range tank. I mean, for something with 54 range defense, how is it range tanky? It's Slick Shell, its secret ability. Its secret ability is awesome. It's awesome. And Terraclaw is definitely one of the best bug types just because of that. It's also tanky on the melee side too, which definitely adds up. It's down to the point where you can live multiple super effective hits on the range side. That's insane. The fact that you can live multiple super effective hits on the range side says a lot. And if you run this with Health Amulet, yeah, this thing is pretty much almost unstoppable on the range side. And it's even pretty hard to beat on the melee side. I mean, this thing is very, very hard to stop. Very hard to stop. And it has amazing coverage, meaning that there are not many Loomians that really want to swap in on it. Although this is another bug type that cannot beat Stratosaur, although you guess you could with Pestilence and Rough Ups. I guess you could in certain scenarios, but yeah, it's a 50-50 matchup. I mean, look at it clutch against a Eclipse and a Yursnak. And yes, while Ludric is the only bug type that can beat Stratosaur, which probably could put it in the top 2, it just doesn't hit hard enough for other Loomians. Terraclaw is a lot better against other Loomians, and that's why it's into the top 3, unlike the Ludrics. I mean, it's just a clutch. It's probably one of the most clutch Loomians on my channel. This thing often clutches up in battle, and that's why it's ranked in the top 3 over the Ludrics, which could be in the top 2, honestly. But let's get into number 2. Number 2 onto the list of bug-type Loomians is actually going to be Swolder. Yep. This is probably the most underrated bug type in all of Loomian Legacy. Bug Toxic, amazing typing. You even have Poison to stall down Loomians. You have pretty solid defense, pretty solid bulk, especially on the melee side. But even better, when melee attackers hit you and you have the webbing ability, they drop a speed. Yes, you heard that correctly. Melee attackers drop a speed, which makes the difference in a lot of battles. There was actually one battle where it was that and a Zeppelin left versus a Hunder. Hunder hits Swolder, loses 1 drop of speeds for Zeppelin to win it for me. Very good utilizability. and pretty bulky with Rejuvenate. And Poison definitely helps it out a lot. And since this is a toxic type, it can actually get rid of Icicle traps, which makes Swolder one of the most underrated bug types in all of Loomian Legacy. You can even use it as an offensive version with Brawn Boost Mega Punch, meaning that you can actually beat Stratosaur if you predict the swap in with Mega Punch. So Swolder is honestly probably one of the best bug types in all of Loomian Legacy, but it's not the best. There is one bug type which is just a little bit better than Swolder. But Swolder is definitely a top 3 bug type, and probably the most underrated Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy. Hits hard, is very bulky, and has utilizability, unlike other bug types on this list. That's why Swolder's in the top 3, unlike a lot of the other bug types on the list. Let's head into number 1. The best bug type in all of Loomian Legacy is Harvesect. Yep. I don't think many people are shocked about this one, and yes, I had this thing on the most disappointing Loomians list, until I used it again. This thing is the bulkiest bug type on the melee side, and even has some good bulk on the other side as well. This thing is bulky, and this thing hits pretty hard. This thing does pretty much everything. Has amazing coverage, hits pretty hard, can get health back, can Driving's Force, so very good under barbs, and it can bulk up and can sweep. This thing is probably one of the best bug types in all of Loomian Legacy. It's so bulky. It's so bulky, especially on the melee side. And with Driving's Force, this thing can absolutely snowball damage. This thing can snowball damage, which is amazing. And even better, since it's a Sphere type, you lose your Brawler weakness, and you can get Driving's Force out yourself, which just gives Harvesect the edge over every other bug type in all of Loomian Legacy. This is by far the best bug type in all of Loomian Legacy, and it's not even close. It can Driving's Force, it can hit Mutagon for quad effective, it's immune to Brawler, it can beat to Clips, it can heal health back from Parasitize, it can bulk up. This is the best bug type in all of Loomian Legacy. And here it is, Harvesect, the best bug type in all of Loomian Legacy. If you say Gleam Turkey in the comments below, I will give you a number, and then in a few days I'll spin the wheel. If your number is picked, you will have the chance to win a Gleam Gobademic. I hope you guys enjoyed this top 5 or list of bug types, and I'll see y'all all later. Bye-bye!